Hey guys, what's up? This is ScherBR and welcome back to my channel. So today video is about romancing Saga universe and we'll be talking about the White Day event. We already talked about it in a live stream, but I want to make a very fast video to try to talk about everything, and it's easier to find this information later. Well, this is not exactly a good banner at all. I think it's the worst banner we had in the game so far. So it's sad because I'm a very fan of Asellus, and this is the very first version we are getting of her. We will be getting some more in the future that are way better than this one. And let's click on try to check her skills and abilities. The first one is Knee Split. That's actually not a bad skill at all. It's D power, 3 BP coast, and it can inflict stun with a medium chance. Very good medium chance. But it's not so hard to find. There's a lot of characters that can use this skill. And the second one is Blooming Rose. That's for all that matters. It's just like Waterfall Blade, but with a light sword user instead of a great sword user like Hector. So nothing unique here. Can be useful in Zuikozinho and some other content, but it's a very high cost to spend. And the last one is Rising Nova, and Rising Nova follows the same design as SS Cordelia we got in the past, the Platinum version of SS Cordelia, because it tries to bring a new element, so it's dual element, but it has a reduced power and increased BP cost. You see, this skill is actually slash damage and fire damage. Let's just watch this skill. But you cannot actually deal with both elements on the same time. If the enemy is more weak to slash, it will be considered as slash damage. If the enemy is more weak to fire, it will be considered fire damage. So it will probably help more when facing enemies that are weak to fire, since it's not so easy to find fire damage. But on the same time, it's just, you see, more cost to the skill but reduced power. It will not stick too long, and just like Cordelia, this is exactly a bad design in my opinion. We will have some other options in the future that are either strict to slash, or either strict to fire, or even a combination of both that are either more powerful or less costly. Okay, so I don't think Asellus brings anything new to the table, and even then she's not exactly a good character to pass one of these skills to the future Asellus. And let's click on style details. Her abilities are Hardy Defense, Fired Up 3, and Self Improvement. The Hardy Defense is not so okay because she's not exactly on full HP most of the time if you are using her against bosses, that where you should be bringing Rising Nova. Fired Up 3 is not so high, we have Fired Up 4 already in the game, and Self Improvement increases her BP when she attacks, because she has a very high BP cost with Rising Nova, but she's lacking power and abilities to increase her damage even further. So this was Asellus. Sadly she's not so good. There's Final Emperor now, and Final Emperor is, well, we already had a Final Emperor released like 2 weeks ago, and that version was better than this one. This one is like a prototype of something that doesn't really work right now. He has Running Slash, Empty Blade. That's skills I think Noel has. He's start feeling like Noel, but it's nothing like Noel. And then he has Brilliant Flash. That it's a skill that affects a row of foes. Instead of a column, it's a row. And you can see, I really like this sprite art of this character. The animation is pretty nice, but you see, you are getting a little more power than a medium damage skill, increasing the BP. 13, it's okay, but I don't see many reasons for you to use this, because when we need AoE, we need cheap AoE to keep spamming it, especially on event where you need to farm 3 waves of enemies, and then using this is just as an opener. It doesn't really help so much. And it's not full AoE, it's just a row of foes. I don't think this is good at all. So it's strange because this character is more useful for boss battles, and then his last skill is one that deals damage against row of foes. So he will be better inheriting the Platinum version Triple S damage skill if he wants to do damage against this type of boss. And well, let's just give a look on his style details, because the most important thing about him is the abilities, and well, he's just a prototype of something that will work in the future. He has this Iron Wall defense that's actually a very good passive to have in this game, because it works all the time, just not like Asellus version that only works when she's on full HP. He will always have the damage reduced. And the second one is self-regeneration, so he gets some HP back because he will be hit by a lot. He doesn't have a way to increase his own taunt chance, so you have to use formations that increase taunt and aggro by the front lines. And the last one is the most important, Act of Devotion. He takes an ally place when this ally is being attacked with a low chance. I don't know if it's only for direct attacks, but the problem is it's only 10% chance of happening. And you will only be using this against bosses, and if a boss uses an AoE damage, well, he will try to cover for at least one character and will reduce, because he cannot be hit twice, it will be reduced the overall final damage that the boss inflicted. When considering 5 characters, that will be only 4 damage instead of 5. But still, there's no real reason to use a character that has only 10% chance of doing something. It, unfortunately, is not okay. So then we have Neidhart. Neidhart is what a shame. Neidhart is, he has a cool design, a good sprite art, but all about him is just average or below average. A double thrust is not so good as an average attack because it's D power with 4 BP. I would prefer a C power with 5 BP in this case. The second one is just hard thrust. It's B power 7 BP, another average thing. And the last one is Arm of Light, that it's just S power 12 BP instead of a little less because it's only S power. No effects, so this guy has no effects with any of his skills, unfortunately. And then let's see his style details. He has Fired Up 2 because he's an S style. Weak point that he deals more damage when he's used against enemies that are weak to Pierce. And Fighting Spirit that he can increase his STR with a medium chance when attacking. He's just an average damage dealer that brings nothing, no effects. Very sad about this guy. So the next one is Julian. This A Julian exactly, well, we don't use A styles unless we are desperate for something that we lack. And this Julian does not bring much as well because Moonfall Slash is something that he already learns with his normal A style. Slice and Dice is new, but yeah, it's not so bad, but it's just like Neidhart. It's a skill that's average damage, average BP cost, nothing extraordinary. But Mirage Blade can be useful because this is actually not a skill that we usually see on the 3rd slot. We usually see this on the 2nd slot because it's 10 power with 10 BP, D power, sorry, and it's AoE, full AoE, you hit all enemies, so this is a little more interesting than the other options we see in this banner. He can pass this through other characters, other versions of Julian, that can help a little more. But this Julian by himself is not good. Well, now we will be checking, and also it's easy to understand that this character can be farmed from the event. So he's the only one that's bringing something from inheritance and you can farm for him. That's a good thing. And the other character that we need to talk is, let's go here on events, then we'll go here on One Faithful White Day. This event here is a little different, but we will talk about after we talk about the 5th character, that's Will. You see this Will here that is on this image. Let's see this Will. This Will is actually very interesting because the SS version of Will is more like a mage, and this one is more like a physical damage dealer, very different from his counterpart, and that's why he's a little interesting, and I think it's the most interesting character of this banner. So let's give a look on Will. To get Will, you have to just spend 3.5k of the currency of the event. Let's just go here on back, and let's check for this style. I'm planning on getting Will maxed because we will get some good styles in the future, but for now we can already start training this version because we have a double game. Let me just go here on Enchant Styles so we can check a little for this version of Will here. This version of Will is interesting because you see he uses Club and Fire just like the SS, but his skills are most more offensive. The first one is C power with 5 BP. This one is a very good skill that can be used for cycling damage. You can reduce to 4. You can use this for like 5 times with no problem. We have Bone Crusher that reduces STR. It's a debuff attack. And then we have Gong Ringer. This one is just a exclusive skill and is double S damage with 12 BP power. You see, not even the banner characters had something like that. And it's good because it's blunt damage. If you don't want to bring a martial artist, you can bring this, and it's a very low cost for a good damage. And let's just leave a look on his abilities. He has a weak point focus, so he will do more damage against people that are weak to blunt. And if you think about inheriting fire skills from SS, that will work as well, but I don't think you should, because this one is more oriented to damage. Personal Discovery will also recover his own BP when he's landing a weak attack. 1 point. So medium chance, that means that if you keep using Returning Trust, if you awaken Returning Trust and you keep using it against one enemy, that will make for a very good cycle. You keep using it and then maybe recovering some BP. That means that you will never have to use normal attack, and that will also help if you are bringing him for STR debuff. We need STR debuff for lots of content in this game, and even more for those that do not have, say, the martial artist that brings submission. So you see, the last one is fired up 2. It's okay because he's an S style, it's not an SS. Usually it stops on fired up 2. And just one thing for you to understand why I like this style is that his attack is pretty high. You see, this one is at level 30 and he's already on 54. I think he can get something like 70% for an S style. That's a pretty okay number. Okay, so this was about the characters. Let's just talk about the event itself. The event itself is actually a little boring in my opinion. This is one of the most boring events because it has stages with lots and lots of enemies that can bring some status ailments, and it's highly suggested that you should not be farming on very hard. You should be farming on hard, because Angel Zodiac made a post on Reddit about this, is that on this event, similar to some other events, we have a lots of variation between the drops, and there's a chance of getting 500 drops from any stage, meaning it hard or very hard. And then if you are farming it just for speed, you want to farm this as fast as possible, you should be farming hard 1 or hard 2, depending on what type of enemies you prefer to fight, and this will be very fast farming. You should also be bringing AoE damage to make it even faster. I'm using this squad here, so I can get a very fast clear, and also bringing 2 characters. You have to bring featured characters on this event. This is the first event that kind of obligates you into using featured characters, but you have to remember it's featured characters, not featured styles. Let's just give a look on this page here. You see any of these styles will work. The past version of Final Emperor, the past version of Neidhart, the past versions of Julian. Julian already has 4 styles now, and also the same thing as the past version of Quell. And because we can farm as Quell and a Julian, that's pretty okay to doing that. Some people are not so happy with the decision of the game that obligates you into using some styles, but you do not have to do this forever. You only have to get some of these gold candies, special candy like they say here, to get some items from the shop. Because you see, this shop is pretty unique. It can give you some platinum summon tickets. It costs 3 of these special candies, so only 9 is enough to get all of the rewards. And then you only have to use 5 of the special candies to get this unique equipment called Sabatons. One is used for healing because it decreases love. So people like White Rose or Sophia will really enjoy this. So you see, you only have this to use. After you farmed these special candies, you can change the characters if you want, but it's good because you still get some drop increase by using the featured characters. But it's like this event doesn't have a very good banner to summon for. I do not suggest you summoning just to get more drops. I'm already on 2 days on the event and I'm almost finished with the farming. And you see that you actually can't farm more stuff. I already got my A Julian from here. You can get 60 pieces of him. You only need 50 to get him into a style. So you can now just farm him by getting him through the candies. And all the other pieces are just for upgrades. Because you cannot get this as Neidhart done because it only gives you 60 and he needs 150 to become a style. And red gem is the most important of them all, because red gems are limited. You have to get this for awakenings. Okay, so this was about the event. Besides getting these 2 characters and the gems, nothing here is mandatory. I think only the explosive equipment is a good option as well. So now let's just try to defeat the last stage, because some people will have some difficulty dealing with this boss. This boss here is actually weak to poison and stun. You can stun him with a very good chance. Only 50 resistance, not so high. He's also weak to slash, pierce, fire, and sun. So there's a lot of ways to deal damage against this enemy here. And I will try to explain the best strategy to defeat this guy. Okay, so this was my squad decision for this fight. You can see that I have Monica, Christmas Monica. She's the pierce damage dealer that I always choose. I have Julian. This is Christmas Julian, and I will explain because, well, actually he can, you see, reduces the stun resistance. He can also reduce the will. He will have lots of chances to inflict stun. I also got him with knee split skill that he learned from his past style. You see, knee split, that helps a lot in inflicting stun. We also have Cat. Cat can also reduce the stun resistance, and she also has submission to reduce the incoming damage. And not only that, we also have Sophia to back up with Bone Crusher. She is also bringing Light Ball from her Christmas version just to try to help a little in the first wave of enemies, and we have Princess White Rose to also help out when we need more healing. Double healer is good here because this battle can be sustained just by stunning the boss and maybe poisoning. But you have to decide. If you want to bring poison, then I will have to drop Cat. That can also work. You can actually choose, if you do not want to bring this version of Cat, you can bring Azami. Because I have Julian, I can make this switch because I already have Julian. Julian can already reduce the stun resistance. And then I can simply use some other skill with this. It can be Punishing Palm to start dealing damage with the first enemies. Okay, so now let's just try to see if this works. Let's start the battle. You see, we have 3 enemies on the first wave. Let's check then. We have resistance against blunt, but weak against fire. And they can do this entangle. This is not so bad. You actually want them to use this because they do not have a high agility, and it's just trying to stun you. And lightning pierce will do some very strong damage sometimes. We have to be careful with that. Slam is also medium damage, will deal around 300 damage, and Tentacle will do around 500. That's what I receive it against these enemies. But let's check the resistance. You see that we cannot inflict any type of stun or paralyze. These enemies need to be defeated as soon as possible. So I will start using like Sultan Cross with my Monica, and then Julian here can start by using something that doesn't use too much BP for now. You can use normal attack, and then Azami can start using Punishing Palm or Submission. Maybe you want to focus damage on the first one so that we can defeat it as soon as possible. We can use Chocolate Ball and Light Ball or Bone Crusher. I'll be using Light Ball. Let's hope for a combo. Oh, they did attack before some characters of mine. Okay, we defeated one now. We can reduce the BP cost for a while so we can recover. I think Azami should still use Submission on this time. And I will use Chocolate Ball again, but no Light Ball. Let's just use normal attack. Okay, another enemy down. We'll be healing now because we need it. Let's just use a healing with Princess White Rose because she heals more than Sophia. And save some BP with the other attacks. Okay, the enemy didn't die. It's even better for us because we can get even more BP. Okay. Now we have these 3 enemies and they can be a little complicated if you do not defeat them as soon as possible. They are weak to blunt. Let's just check them. You see they are weak to blunt and cold, but we are not bringing this. But you can stun and paralyze this enemy, so this is pretty nice. If you are bringing this formation, you can already try to stun the frontal enemies with Feint, and then we can use Knee Split on this one, or Heaven on Earth. We can use Heaven on Earth to try to kill it as soon as possible. And I'll be using Punishing Paw because it can deal damage to all 3 enemies. I will still be using Chocolate Paw because, well, I don't have a need to heal right now. And Light Ball. Or maybe Bone Crusher on this little enemy here. Didn't stun. Yeah, it didn't work this time right now. So we will need to heal. But we can still attack this enemy here. And instead of using Heaven on Earth, I will try to use Knee Split to save some DP. We'll be using normal attacks, try to focus on the first enemy. I can use Chocolate Ball. And this time I'll be healing with Sophia. We poisoned one of the enemies. We didn't inflict stun. Well, it's a Magic chance. It may fail sometimes. The first enemy is still alive. What annoying. Oh, finally. She attacked and then she died. Okay, so now we need to revive Azami. I will use Ray of Hope because it will heal more. We are also saving our overdrives. Okay. Everyone is alive again. Let's just finish with normal attacks so we save some DP. Okay. Now it's time for the boss, right? But the strategy is to reach the boss with everything on max. Now we unleash Overdrive and we will start with Sultan Cross, then we will just use Heaven on Earth because it can stun. Let's just check again. This boss can be stunned. Okay. Golden Dragon is not so good. Let's just use Heaven on Earth. Submission. You can use Chocolate Ball to reduce the agility. And Bone Crusher to reduce the STR. And we just poisoned the boss. You see how much damage poison can inflict on this boss. We reduced the wheel as well. Really nice. See, this enemy has lots of AoE damage. We are already on 40% of the boss HP. Well, let's just use everything again. Heaven on Earth, submission, but I think we will need to heal. But I will still use Chocolate Ball and heal with my Yeah. Maybe if I attack with everyone, on the next turn he will die. And we didn't stun the boss, but we could. There was a chance of instunning. Yeah, the battle is already done. You can simply go on full auto now. Yeah, you see? You just finished. So this is it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you everyone for watching. If you want to support the channel, you can do so by either using the Patreon, PayPal, or Coffee button here on the description. And we'll see each other in the next video. Bye.